Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now, whether you're new in the credit card game or you're a frequent flyer veteran here, one thing we always try to stress is earning the maximum amount of points you can based on spend you already have to do. However, once you've done all that and you've earned all these points, what exactly do you have? What are these fictitious points worth? How can you redeem them and get value for them? And what should you really think about it? And what does all this mean? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down on today's one-on-one episode about the basics of points and their value. So, if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead, press the subscribe button. Let's get to work. Okay, so first things first, let's start off with a one-on-one slide. Let's level set. What are the basics here? When we say the word point, what exactly do we mean? We're not playing basketball, we're not playing football, so what is a point? Well, my personal definition of what a point is a fictitious currency issued by card companies as part of a rewards program to build loyalty from customers. So basically how this works is you have to use your card to make a purchase and then you get points back for making that purchases, and we'll talk about the math in a second. Now, it's important to note here that points are considered a rebate off of the purchase you have to make. So you don't have to pay taxes on credit card points. Now, this isn't to be confused with when you refer a friend to sign up for your credit card. That is different, but just for making purchases with your card, those points are rebates and they're not taxable. Okay, so next up, let's talk about how this works. So what is a point worth now that we have the RJ definition? Well, technically speaking, a point is going to be worth a penny. So you can actually find this in the card member terms and conditions. 9 times out of 10, they will call this out in their rewards program section of exactly what you're earning. And more often than not, it's a 1-to-1. That's what that ratio means. 1 point equals 1 penny or 1 cent. So with that in mind, I would say 1-to-1 is the table minimum for valuation. However, it's important to note this may change when redeeming. Now we'll talk about more on redemptions a little bit later, but the 1-to-1 in the terms and conditions is really all it is the card issuer saying that's what they're going to give you. It doesn't necessarily translate to every single redemption. It's going to meet that valuation, but more on that to come. Now that 1 penny per point, again, is the base valuation. So let's bring in an example of a card here and start to make this a little bit more real and feasible. So cards have what we call multipliers. They're called force multipliers, right? So if the base multiplier is going to be 1x. So any card usually has like a 1x on all purchases. Now this could be written as 1x or 1%. It's basically the same thing. We're going to illustrate that with math in a second. And this dictates how much you're going to get back per dollar spent. That's the calculation here. It's point per dollar. That's really how they're coming up with this. So let's take a quick example here. So if we had a basic card here earning 1x back, you can see on $1 spent, you're going to earn 1 point or 1 penny. That's because it's 1x or 1% return. 1% of $1 is a penny. Another quick example, if you spent $100, you're going to earn 100 points or $1 in points. So because again, 1x or 1% of 100 is going to be $1. Now with that said, you can kind of see, well, wait a minute, that's not really that much money at all. Why do we do this whole hobby? Why do I watch your videos if I'm just going to earn a few pennies? That's not super helpful. You're correct. That's where more strategic or more categorized based multipliers come into effect. You see, there are other cards, a lot of other cards I should say, that have multiplier specific categories. So for example, the American Express Gold card does earn 1x back on all purchases, and that's more of a baseline that you're going to see on every card. However, people like the Gold card because it also earns 4x back on restaurants and dining. So let's take a look at some math and see if we can move this more in our favor. So in this example, if you had a card that earns 5x back, this obviously is going to change things. That same $1 spent is going to yield you 5 points, or now you're up to a nickel, again, 5x or 5% return. Now if you spent $100, this is going to get you 500 points, which could be worth $5, again, 5x or 5%. So if you like that math better than the original 1x math we did, the things you should consider here, again, cards have a wide range of multipliers for all use cases. That's why there's so many cards. So basically, this is why we like multipliers so much, because they end up making the math so much more favorable when used in that specific category. So again, I gave the gold card example earlier, and there's also rotating category cards. So each quarter the category changes. So this is your Chase Freedom Flex, your Discovery Cash. Those are going to earn 5x back on rotating quarterly categories. Now, okay, and so now that the math is moving more in our favor, let's quickly touch on the types of points or types of cards. Then we'll talk about the redemptions, and then we'll close with my thoughts on this. So, this part gets a little bit confusing because we and the card companies kind of use these terms interchangeably. Now, there's two types of cards. There's cashback cards and travel cards is what I would say. So a straight cashback card is going to be like the City Double Cash, City Custom Cash, something like that. A travel card is going to be, the Hilton Aspire card, the Delta Gold card, something like that, where the categories on those travel cards are a little bit more travel focused. Now, all the fundamentals we talked about up until this point still apply, whether it's cashback or points. Now, the confusion can come in because, again, we use these terms interchangeably. So if you talk about Chase earns ultimate reward points. However, the Freedom Flex card is branded as a cashback card on Chase's site. The Sapphire Preferred, Sapphire Reserve are branded as travel cards, but they earn ultimate reward points, and then what you do with those ultimate reward points kind of dictates, the redemption that you're going to get, and that's where we're going next. Because technically cashback and points can be interchangeable, but your valuation or your redemptions will change based on kind of what the card or the rewards program is geared for you doing. And we'll touch on that now. So when it comes to redeeming these points, this is where the value comes in on all the points you've earned. You have a few different options. So let's take a look at those, then we'll break them all down. Your options here are usually going to be cashback. Cashback works as a statement credit or into a bank account. You can buy gift cards through a portal. Usually you can buy merchandise. I've never really understood this merchandise one, but all the card issuers have it. Now there's also travel portals and transfer partners. So those are the redemption options, but that doesn't exactly tell you what they're worth and what you're actually getting. So remember in the beginning we said, hey, the card issuer was saying you're getting a 1-to-1, but does that necessarily hold true for each redemption? And unfortunately the answer is no. So here's a really quick way you can figure out what value you're getting. So put the example on screen here, and the formula we want to use is basically the thing you want or are going to buy divided by how many points it costs is going to give you the cent per point calculation. So if we take an example here, we have an airline ticket that costs $650 cash. The redemption you're going to need to do is 50,000 points. So if I say $650 divided by 50,000 points, 0.013, you can multiply that by 100 if you want to make it a little bit more clean of a number, and now you have 1.3 cents per point. So as a result, this redemption, you can see you're actually doing better than the table minimum. If we say the table minimum is a 1-to-1 or 1 cent per point, you're getting 1.3, which is actually pretty good. Now this formula holds true no matter what kind of redemption you want to do. If you want to cash out, if you want gift cards, if you want transfer partners, transfer portal, this is how it works, and it's a very quick, easy way to figure out what you're earning. Now I will give some caveats on each redemption or some things that you should at least keep in mind. So first of all, when we talk about cash, you're looking for a 1-to-1 transfer. That's generally what you're going to get. Because if you're redeeming to a statement credit or into a bank account, that 1-to-1 that the terms and conditions of the card issuer are quoting should be honored. Now, I don't expect you to get more than 1-to-1, but 1-to-1 is the base minimum. Anything less than that, I would consider not doing it. Now, gift cards to me don't make much sense. The reason why is because you could go out and you could just buy the thing, get the points for it, and then earn more points and then redeem those points into a bank account or statement credit. Now, cashback was the most simple one, so let's move on to transfer partners. Now, transfer partners is interesting because what card companies do, they partner with travel companies, hotels, and airlines, and they have partnerships where you can transfer your ultimate reward points, your membership reward points out to that company. So this is pretty easy in the sense that normally the redemption rate is listed on the transfer partner, or you can easily look it up on the Points Guy or something like that. Sometimes transfer partners, they run specials where you can get like 30-40% more points when you do it. Those are always nice. Now, something to keep in mind here is once you transfer the points out, and this is true of all of these actually, once you transfer the points out, you can't get them back. They are stuck at that location, so just make sure, this is your final answer and lock it in. Now, one other thing to note here on transfer partners is 1-to-1 is great, but you also need to take into consideration what those points are worth when you transfer them out to the destination spot. So again, our formula comes back into play. If you were sending them to Hilton, you just look up what a room stay would be that you're considering, do the math, and then you can see what your points will be worth as Hilton points. Now, the other option you have here for redemptions is going to be like internal travel portals. So a lot of times card issuers, they have their own travel portal. Now, this is like like Chase, for example, like it's a Chase sticker basically, but it's powered by an Expedia backend. That's kind of what it is. So with this redemption here, portals, again, they're usually 1-to-1. But the pro here is that you don't have to transfer them out anywhere. Now, you do want to check prices versus the regular site, right? So again, if you're booking a flight on Delta, you do want to go to like Google Flights or directly to Delta and make sure the prices are exactly the same. Because again, sometimes Expedia and those sites can charge a little bit more. Okay, I feel like we covered a lot in this one, so let's wrap this one up with some final thoughts here. So, overall, this is an important part of cards because, calculating out the valuation, one, is going to help you maximize your return on spend, which is what we're all here to do. Number two, especially when you talk about those travel cards, those annual fee cards, they get pretty hefty, $550, $650, $700. If you do the math and you understand what you're getting cent per point, they can really help you justify those more expensive cards. Amex Platinum at $700 might not be so bad if you're earning, that much more on the points, 2 cents per point, whatever it may be. Now, I must point out why I don't really talk about it that much and its points value that much is because I don't really get too caught up on it, if we're being honest. My overall goal generally when I'm redeeming points, it's primarily for travel. I have done cash back before, but primarily for travel. I'm just trying to not spend my own money is really the thing. Now, I will kind of eyeball it, sometimes you can tell a bad valuation, right? You would never cash out American Express membership reward points for cash because, it's well documented you're getting 60 cents on the dollar. So I wouldn't do that. There have been some hotel transfers where I'm like, I would be better off just paying cash and saving these for a more expensive stay. But for the most part, that's why I don't talk about it too much, but it is important. I don't want to downplay it, but I also don't want to be misleading and have you guys think I'm just like Captain Value over here trying to do the calculation every single time. Now, one other thing to consider here is, I don't think most people care about this, not that caring about it is right or wrong, but, if you get too caught up in how much value you're getting, it also does matter where you're sending the points to. If you're getting 1.3 cents at United, but you hate flying United and you want to go to Delta, you're only getting 1 cent back per Delta, then, you're probably better off just going to Delta because, again, the whole premise of this card thing is that you are using your card on purchases that you would have to make anyways. So that rebate is you're getting something for already something that you had to buy. So it's, in effect, it's kind of like free money. I mean, you could definitely make that argument. So I would, factor in some level of convenience and enjoyment in your redemptions as well. But again, that's just kind of my 2 cents on the topic. So anyways, guys, if you like this one, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you find it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. Posting content just like this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, of course. With Sunday, we have that recap episode that is all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. My question for you guys is two things. One, let me know what you like about this 101 type video. Sometimes we kind of just gloss over the basics and assume everyone knows and we're talking the same language, and that's just not the case. So if you want more of these, let me know what topics you would like to see dive deep into down below. Number two, let me know your thoughts on points, valuations, and transfers. Where are some of the things you've gotten the most highest value from your points, or what do you tend to look for when doing the transfers and redemptions? Love to get your thoughts on that. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.